All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Curvature webinar featuring our special guest, Fortinet. And our topic today is From AI Hype to Network Reality, Securing, Scaling, and Optimizing the Modern Enterprise. My name is Jesse. I'm a supply chain expert and network product leader here at Curvature, a Park Place Technologies company. And for the past 15 years, I've specialized in helping our clients solve their network and security challenges in creative and innovative ways. And with me today are two very special guests, Emilio from Curvature and Garrick from Fortinet. Emilio, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Emilio Oseguera. I've been a pre-sales engineer here at Curvature for the past 15 years and focusing on enterprise networking technologies, including wireless, switching, routing, and security. And I'm excited to be here, part of today's discussion.
Thanks, Emilio. And Garrick, welcome to our call today. Please share a bit about yourself.
I'm Garrick Chang. I am a regional panel SE here at Fortinet. I've been an SE here for 11 years. And most of those 11 years have been focused on helping our channel partners and their customers secure their networks and help them with their cybersecurity needs.
Thanks, Garrick. All right, for those on the call, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We will have a Q&A portion at the end to answer your questions, or you can just voice them at the end. And this recording will also be available at the end of the event in case you'd like to watch it or share it with someone else. So here's our agenda for today. We've organized this conversation into 3 steps. First is AI 101. And I promise this will not be a computer science class, but we will really do a quick overview of the history of AI and discuss AI assistants, AI agents, and domain-specific AI, and then connect those exciting new technologies to network and security operations. Second, Emilio will walk us through the market shift from manual configuration, siloed tools, and alert overload toward more intent-driven, agentic-based IT operations. And then third, Garrick will highlight Fortinet's innovative approach, AI for security, as well as security for AI, and a unified network and security operations setup. So the thread running through all 3 of these sections is simple. Where can AI create real operational leverage for your teams, but which controls are needed before we trust it with more autonomy? So the big question is, why this conversation now? And the short answer is AI is completely transforming IT and how our businesses run. This is an exciting time to be in business and in the IT space, but there's so much growth so fast that there's bound to be some problems. So right now, AI growth and the related hardware and software requirements are having major implications and causing disruption across the market. Beginning around last summer, the costs of hardware have been skyrocketing, as well as the budget being spent on AI tools and solutions. Companies went through their IT budgets way faster than expected and have been often now forced to choose between investing in the latest and greatest AI hardware and software, like maybe new servers and usage tokens, or upgrading and maintaining the rest of their legacy infrastructure, the non-AI stuff, like network switches and wireless access points. So very interesting. 1 in 3 enterprises is saying they're delaying their planned network refresh cycles simply to fund AI. That's what our customers are saying. And 72% of IT leaders say their network was not designed, their existing network, for these new AI era workloads. So really what's happening is the AI conversation and the network conversation are now the same conversation. So if your network is slow, your AI is slow. If your network isn't secure, your AI and your data isn't secure. And if your team can't operate all these things, your AI and your business can't scale. So what's really going on in the IT space? It's really helpful to look at the history of AI and how AI has been getting more and more integrated into IT networks and security over the last decade or so. So let's take a quick look back in time. You may recall legacy AI, which was more like a novelty built into chatbots and some other helpful tools on your phone or around your home. Then a few years ago, AI really burst on the scene with generative AI, which could finally answer complex questions, as well as create stunning visuals or even movies just from prompts. Well, now we're in that kind of orange box, the modern AI explosion, where AI tools are no longer just novelties or helpful add-ons. AI is starting to add tremendous value to every area of our lives and our businesses. And AI is starting to outperform humans significantly in areas like coding, building complex applications and workflows, and creating automation. So where is this all going? Well, it depends on who you ask, but the future of AI really seems to be around agentic automation and AI operating more independently from humans with less and less input required. So how does this growth in AI technology really relate to modern enterprise IT networks and IT security? Well, in a similar way, AI has slowly become integrated into enterprise networks, starting with legacy solutions that were often helpful AI tools, but AI was more like a bolt-on, which gave helpful alerts, made a few things easier in your network. More recently, leading IT security OEMs started to roll out AI tools that were more proactive, more independent and autonomous, and really added value. And today, that blue field, modern AI solutions and IT solutions are designed and deployed with AI built into the very foundation of the devices in the network fabric. And these AI solutions help run and secure your entire network. So then again, where is this going? Well, buckle up because the future of network security is exciting. It's a bit scary. It's constantly evolving. And in a word, it's agentic. So Emilio, from our customer side, what are you seeing most often right now?
Yeah, so right now, our customers, what we are seeing is a lot of growth, scalability. So teams are managing more devices, more sites, more users, more policy demands. So environments are more distributed, and a lot of operations rely on tribal knowledge as well. So there needs to be a converged network and security operations. That's what we're seeing a lot of from our side.
Absolutely, thank you. And Garrick, same question from the Fortinet side. What are you seeing most right now? What are customers asking for?
We're seeing a lot of organizations that accelerated the digital transformation and moving a lot of their workloads into the cloud, into SaaS applications. And so what that's doing is expanding their attack surface. And what that's leading to is a lot of holes in the perimeter, or where the applications live, because as you move things to the cloud, as you move things to SaaS, who becomes responsible for security kind of becomes blurred. And so we're seeing a lot of organizations, they aren't aware of where they have risk. And if you can't see that where you have holes, you can't protect it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Garrick. So that's a good setup for this bigger market shift that we're seeing. But before we get into those solutions, those challenges and solutions, it probably makes sense to define a little bit more of these AI systems and solutions everyone's using. So, Emilio, would you just share a bit about the difference between AI assistants and agentic AI?
Yeah, so these are just the different AI components. We'll see this in most modern AI systems, but we'll start off with the AI assistant. And by now, most of us, if not all of us, have used an AI assistant that includes ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Copilot. Even like a simple Google search now uses a form of an AI assistant. And an AI assistant is made up of two components: user interface, or the chat box, and an AI model. There's different AI models, but they're still commonly referred to as the LLM, or the large language model, or just simply models. But we'll keep it as LLM for this purpose. The LLM is the core component of most modern AI platforms. It's the brain, the AI brain. And the LLM bridges the gap between natural language and computers. So these AI assistants, they're great for generating code, media, summarizing research. And just one example how I've used an AI assistant, I've used it to build an Excel formula. So instead of searching through forums and documentation and how to, I can ask an AI assistant for the formula, and it'll describe it'll generate the formula for me, and it'll give me the steps to how to complete my objective in Excel. Because AI assistants rely on prompt and response, the capabilities are inherently limited. which is why we have agentic AI. So agentic AI is a system that is implemented through AI agents. An AI agent is essentially a software application that uses the LLM to reason and make decisions and take actions on your behalf. So the main difference between an AI assistant and an AI agent is the AI agent can autonomously complete a task on your behalf. They can be fully autonomous, or they can be guardrailed to minimize risk. So anybody can really make an AI agent for themselves, but if they're not properly guardrailed, they can actually introduce a risk into your network. So in the previous example with the AI assistant, I mentioned that an AI assistant can explain the steps and provide me the code for an Excel a formula. But with an agent, you explain your intent and it generates the formula, and it'll actually apply the formula in the Excel spreadsheet on your behalf. So that's something that I've done as well with AI agents. That's a basic example, but in a more complex example, an AI agent can evaluate information, make decisions, and adjust their reasoning. So, for example, there's this stock trading agent now where it can collect data from multiple sources, use the LLM to analyze potential outcomes, and determine, whether it should trade or execute that trade for you. So it's important to understand that introducing an agent that is fully autonomous can introduce those risks that I mentioned. So you can guardrail the agent and have it require a human in the loop before it makes any critical actions.
Well, thanks for those overviews, Emilio. So yeah, it sounds like AI assistants, maybe most people on the call are familiar with. Truly agentic AI is more on the frontier, but definitely becoming more and more popular, and all of this is affecting how companies need to track and manage their internal data, their users, all of that. But there's this other concept called domain-specific AI. Emilio, walk us through what domain-specific AI means, how companies are using this specific AI technology.
Yeah, so domain-specific AI, it often combines both the AI assistants and the AI agents, and as well as proprietary data. So domain-specific AI is a system that is really fine-tuned and guardrailed for a specific industry or organization, and it has a strict data governance, to keep your data secure. So domain-specific AI is typically used in healthcare and legal and manufacturing or retail. In our case, we would probably use the domain-specific AI for network management and security. So, like in the previous slide, a general AI, it's a consumer-grade AI assistant, where it uses the power of the LLM to gather information from the internet. So an AI assistant, a general AI assistant, is really pulling information from websites, forums, TikTok, YouTube. But with domain-specific AI, the LLM is directed to pull information from proprietary data within the organization. So in the world of network management and security, you want to make sure you get the correct information to configure your network, and not a recommendation from someone online named I like cats 6767.
Well, true words. So thanks for those overviews, Emilio. And so, yeah, why does domain-specific AI matter to network and security teams? Well, of course, it matters because the structure of the network is changing. The volume of the data is increasing. Companies no longer just have to manage humans, but they now have to manage these AI tools, LLMs, and now an ever-growing pool of agents in their network. So on the left there, it used to be humans were the primary operators within networks. Data and security rules were tailored to humans and their patterns of behavior. And then more recently in the middle, networks began adding in agentic tools, LLM access, which of course increased the volume and complexity of the IT data, as well as the number of points that your network might be vulnerable. And then on the right there, with domain-specific AI, you have this incredible benefit of kind of an internally built data repository and LLM tools that are super helpful. But those networks with their new agentic framework are creating new challenges as well. So just a quick question for Garrick. Why is domain-specific AI more relevant than general-purpose AI for network and security teams?
As Emilio mentioned previously, right, general purpose AI, they're going to pull data from wherever they're going to get the data from. And AI doesn't really know what the right answer is. So there's a possibility that you're going to get some random incorrect answer. With domain specific AI, because it's trained on information that is contextual and relevant to the industry or to the organization, you're going to get you're going to get better answers, right? If you're configuring a firewall or something in the network, you can get configurations and policies that are going to follow best practices. If you're in a regulated industry, healthcare, e-commerce, right, and you need to do auditing and reporting on HIPAA or PCI DSS, right? A domain-specific AI can provide you that type of auditing, that type of reporting, and the user can have fairly good confidence that it's going to be correct. And then with insecurity, with taking in logs, right? We can ingest logs from a lot of different places using AI to filter out the false positives, to filter out the noise, and then find the threat faster and remediate the threat more quickly as well.
Thanks, Garrick. Absolutely. Here's a question for Emilio, and then we'll ask Garrick the same question. What's the biggest misunderstanding right now for customers in AI?
Yeah, I think the biggest misunderstanding would be the AI platforms. All of the AI platforms offer the same level of security. So the first, we're talking about the AI assistants. There's many AI assistants out there, but there's a difference between consumer-grade AI tools and enterprise AI solutions. We need to know where that data goes and how it's stored. So that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this shift towards domain-specific AI.
Thanks so much. And Garrick, same question. What's the biggest misunderstanding you're seeing for customers in AI?
I think that a lot of people think that AI has a memory and it remembers things, but it doesn't, right? It's like telling a 5-year-old something and then they forget. You ask them the same question, and you'll get a completely different answer, right? AI outside of when you leave an AI session and come back, it has no memory of what's told you previously. So you could get 2 completely different answers to the same question, when you change sessions.
Interesting. Yeah. So of course that creates challenges for IT and businesses teams. And so really we want to talk through what all this is doing in terms of really the market shifts. So, right, these tools, this technology is creating some seismic shifts and really leading to some great advantages and benefits, as well as some challenges. But Emilio, let's walk through some of these major shifts. So what's one major shift you're seeing on that's happening in the market?
Yeah, so one of the major shifts is the manual configuration to intent-based automation. As AI continues to evolve, we're moving beyond manual configuration and traditional automation. So instead of spending time configuring individual settings and workflows, administrators can define the desired outcome or intent. So and allow AI to determine how to achieve it. So this shift is what we call intent-based automation. With an AI assistant, you might ask, how do I configure a guest Wi-Fi network with internet-only access? But with an AI agent, you can ask it a more intent-based question. So you can actually just tell the agent, create a guest Wi-Fi network with internet-only access. So in other words, we're shifting from telling our system how to perform a task to simply defining the desired outcome.
Thanks so much. And Garrick, question for you. What's your view of this in the industry currently?
So I think that as we go from, as you said, as we go from the manual configuration to intent-based automation, it really makes, administrators' lives easier, right? Instead of configuring, if you've got a SD-WAN deployment where you have, a hub and spoke and you need to deploy, across all the sites, instead of having to configure the sites manually, or you can use whatever central management tool you're using. Take an image of the network diagram and have your agent create the configuration for the full network, and then push it out to the devices automatically, right? And so it's going to make administrators' lives easier, sort of as we see in this slide here. It's going to take care of a lot of time-consuming repetitive tasks, and also going to be less error-prone.
Thanks, Garrick. So yeah, as teams are dealing with more and more data, and hopefully their tools are helping manage that data, the next challenge then becomes making sense of all that data that these environments generate, which often leads to alert fatigue for security teams. And so, Emilio, just share a bit about the shift from really alert overload to this actionable intelligence.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing customers, their organizations are growing, more devices, more users. So as that happens, you're going to get the number of alerts are going to continue to grow as well. So this challenge isn't limited to enterprise environments as well. For example, in my home, in my network, I routinely receive alerts about new devices joining the network, high bandwidth utilization, suspicious activity, and most of these alerts turn out to be false positives. Many times it's family cell phones that use MAC address randomization. There's large uploads that turn out to be cloud backups or software updates. But there's still some things that I see that are a little suspicious, like my 3-year-old's TV uploads an unusual amount of data for some reason. So that's something that I do have to go investigate. But the challenge is determining which alerts actually require attention. And at the enterprise level, the same challenge exists at a much larger scale. You have thousands of users, you have devices and applications, and this produces hundreds or thousands of notifications, which many are duplicates or false positives. So AI can help address this challenge. With an AI assistant, you can review the alerts and ask it to review these alerts and tell me what to focus on. But I think it's important to also note that an AI assistant is only as good as your prompt. So, a simple question like that might not get you the best result. You can get better results with something like review these alerts and classify them into 3 categories. And then for each category, provide a reasoning and confidence level for the classification. So now we're prompting, right? So the assistant can, they can summarize the alerts, explain the findings, and recommend the next steps. And rather than overwhelming the analyst, the AI assistant can prioritize these activity and provide a little bit of context.
Well, thanks. Yeah, definitely a big challenge for companies today and network teams. Emilio, what's the real cost, though, of too much noise in your network?
Yeah, I think it's just the false positives and the duplicate notifications. It's a lot of fatigue going, like filtering through all that. And teams can miss meaningful threats. Performance issues can look or performance issues because everything looks urgent. So an AI assistant is just going to prioritize what really matters.
Well, thanks. So we've discussed the shift from manual configuration to intent-based automation. Now the massive amount of data creates alert overload in your network. That shift to actionable intelligence built on AI. And then Emilio, talk about this third shift from really a lot of different siloed tools to agentic security.
Yeah, so today's teams, security teams often rely on multiple tools and operate independently. These tools operate independently of one of another. Um, each tool serves an important purpose, but they typically operate in silos, and requiring security teams to manually investigate across multiple platforms. Uh, so the previous example, we showed how AI can help us identify um, which alerts deserve attention. But with I think the transformation here is the agentic. It takes this to it takes it to the next level by continuously investigating these alerts, acting on them in the background. Instead of waiting for an analyst to initiate an investigation, AI agents can operate in the background and monitor live security telemetry, correlate that information from multiple sources, investigate the lateral movement. That's one of the big things that we're seeing with our customers is they're asking, how do we prevent attacks that are not only moving north south but east west, and agents can identify these traffic patterns and determine potential impact. So the bottom line is we're moving beyond automating tasks to automating the investigation process with agentic AI.
Well, we've just covered, thank you, Emilio. We've covered 3 really important shifts in the market. And all this is based on new AI technology that's basically helping companies and users do their job better and solve these problems, which is great, right? But before we discuss how Fortinet helps companies in these ways, solving issues in modern emerging ways, it's also important to share a bit of the scarier side. Discuss how these IT threats are evolving based on new AI-based technology. And this technology, of course, is not just being integrated into the protection side that Emilio discussed. It's also, of course, AI is being used by malicious entities to gain access to your data and try to disrupt your operations. So here's really the modern threat backdrop. There's, of course, many different ways that companies' networks are at risk and their business and their data. But we just wanted to spotlight a few just to really prime this discussion for what Fortinet is doing to combat these. So there's kind of 4 areas we wanted to discuss. The first, top left, AI accelerated attackers, right? So using software to attack companies is nothing new. What is new and newer is just the scale and the complexity of using some of these AI tools to attack your network. These attacks can be indistinguishable from human attacks, from human interactions, things like email or maybe API requests can all be spoofed, and that's a significant concern. Top right, deepfake weaponization. Maybe your company has ways of validating users' identities. Well, now their voice can be cloned, right? So that's a significant challenge. And then really the bottom 2 are very significant. We're seeing a lot of concern around this from our customer base, which is really shadow AI in the enterprise. So that's having sensitive data really go outside your network, and then companies, employees using ungoverned tools and just kind of AI infiltrating all of your systems for maybe good reasons, but creating some challenges there as well. And then the bottom right, possibly the most interesting recent threat is this idea of agentic threats, where agents, software behaves like an account or a user and can really get in and create some real problems, all maybe under the radar of legacy systems. And so really the perimeter isn't the problem anymore. It's all these blind spots inside your environment as you're spinning up new technologies, new agents, using new tools. There's just so much change happening. It's hard to stay on top of all of it. So Emilio, which of these threats are our customers talking about most right now?
Yeah, the biggest concern that I'm hearing from customers right now is that AI is helping attackers move faster and operate at a much larger scale. The good news is that defenders are also leveraging AI. Some modern firewalls, next generation firewalls, these threat defense platforms, they also use AI, and machine learning to identify suspicious behavior. So they can detect emerging threats and respond more quickly. And with machine learning, they can identify new algorithms that there's no signatures for at the moment.
Thanks. And then Garrick, what is Fortinet seeing, which is kind of the most common concern that customers are sharing on the Fortinet side?
Customers are, Emilio's concerns, or the concerns that Emilio shared with the AI accelerated attackers is always on the forefront of everybody's mind, right? Especially with the Mythos and Daybreak, being from ChatGPT, from OpenAI, having been released recently. But I think second to that is shadow AI in the enterprise, right? As more and more of us are using different AI tools in the workplace, we don't know who that data is being shared with, and so as organizations start coming up with sort of an AI plan that's condoned, that's been properly vetted, you need to make sure that people aren't using unsanctioned AI tools where or the organization's IP, maybe customer data is being sent to public LLMs and being used to train different models.
Well, thanks, Garrick. So now we're going to go into really spotlighting Garrick and his company Fortinet, their innovative approach. So hopefully everyone on the call and who listens later is aware of who Fortinet is, but Fortinet is one of the leading IT security OEMs globally. Network security has been doing this for a very long time and very innovative approach. So what we're going to do is now give Garrick a chance to share how Fortinet solves some of these challenges, and then we'll have some time for Q&A afterwards. So Garrick, what does it really mean when Fortinet says you provide AI for security and security for AI? Walk us through what you guys do there.
As organizations are, just kind of like I previously said, taking advantage of the AI tools out there, we look at it as using AI in two different ways, right? First, it's sort of what we've been talking about today, using AI to secure your network, your infrastructure, right? And so really that starts with, having a plan to use AI for security, right? 80% of IT decision makers have said that, within the next 12 months, this was a survey that was done in 2025. So, by beginning of 2027, right, 80% of IT decision makers have said that all of their manual patching, the manual patching that they're doing today, their response workflows, things like that, will be fully automated, right? And so, taking and using an agentic AI framework to accomplish those things, tasks that we would, really would be done repetitively by somebody, right? That's going to go, and we're going to have AI start doing those things for, secure the basic parts of security, right? And then, automated threat detection, right? Using machine learning, using, the different algorithms, as well as, large language models to help prevent against threats, right? 62% of organizations reported a deepfake attack in 2025, right? And so by automating the detection of those threats, right, we can also then use AI for security and securing our networks. And then, security for AI as we, move into those AI tools, right? I talked about shadow AI, a second ago, right? And just locking that down, making sure that only the sanctioned AI tools are being used, using tools like data leak prevention and also application control at the firewall to make sure that data isn't leaving as well, and unsanctioned applications aren't being used, right? And then sort of the last two there LLM security and sort of protecting the AI factory, that's really, kind of goes to Jesse's last slide, the agentic AI attacker, where, making sure that agents aren't doing things they shouldn't be able to do, pulling data they shouldn't be able to pull, right within, when they're working with the LLMs and the other AI tools, right? And then also just making sure that the AI factory is going to be protected.
Thanks, Garrick. And of course, yeah, every company is or should be trying to figure out how to solve these challenges. What's unique about Fortinet is it's all integrated and it's all being done with just the latest and greatest technology. Garrick, walk us through this slide, just how Fortinet approaches unifying the Network Operations Center and Security Operations Center with Gen AI.
Yeah, so we have our AI bot AI assistant FortiAI. It runs across multiple different products in the Fortinet security fabric, right? And so when we're on the network operations side, right, we can use it to help with configuration, right? One of the examples I used previously, we can in FortiManager, take an image of a network, the full network, and then FortiManager will create the configuration for each site, and then have and then we sort of use a human in the loop there, make sure that the configuration looks good, make sure that there's nothing obvious that's wrong with it, right? Or there's nothing that's wrong with it, right? And then we can have FortiManager then push that out to all different sites. And what that allows us to do is, simplify configuration as well as simplify changes. With some other products, things like FortiAI Ops, right? We can see what's going on in the network, and then also that allows us to identify problems, before they become real problems, right? And so, make for faster troubleshooting, and also allowing our network operation teams to be more proactive instead of reactive, right? Waiting for a user to complain about the Wi-Fi being bad in a certain area and then go investigate, versus having tools that are going to tell you, hey, there looks like there's a problem over in this area with your Wi-Fi. We can get to that before the users notice. And also, it also allows, AI agent for FortiAI also allows, people to script more easily, right? You don't have to necessarily know the CLI for, all the different products out there, right? We can get those scripts, those CLI scripts, done more quickly, and then just have, the engineer, the analyst, validate that the scripts look right. The next slide will sort of dive deeper into how FortiAI can help us with the Security Operations Center, right? There's a huge skills gap in cybersecurity professionals, and that means, sort of what Emilio was talking about earlier. Alert overload, right? We have, we're getting too many alerts in, and so it's hard to separate the noise from, the meaningful alerts. Additionally, organizations have too many siloed tools, right? Emilio mentioned that. There's a study that I read earlier, that enterprises are using between 45 and 75 different security tools, right? So by having sort of FortiAI assistant, in tools like a SIM or a SOAR, right? We can take those alerts from across the whole network, and if it's things like manual tasks, like having somebody investigate an email that's been reported as a phishing attempt, right? We don't, we can automate that task. In fact, we do that internally at Fortinet, where our FortiSOAR, and you click the phishing button, right? It sends it to FortiSOAR. FortiSOAR checks the email and then kicks back a response. And unless there's a need to, nobody really ever looks at it, right? We can also, by taking all those alerts in and processing them using AI and machine learning, right? We can, we can filter out the noise, get faster response, detection, and also faster response, and then use FortiAI Assist to then create playbooks that we can run going forward. And so that helps, sort of bridge that skills gap that currently exists.
Well, thanks, Garrick, for showing us more about the FortiAI Assistant and really its implications across an entire network, making everyone's jobs easier, making the data cleaner, and making alerts and responses more automated. What does this operational efficiency mean to customers that are using it?
By utilizing AI tools like FortiAI Assist, and there's a lot of other tools out there, right? Really, what that means for customers is that it turns the current resources they have into more resources, right? It gives them more resources to use, essentially more people, right? It also then provides them more coverage. They can really do more with less. And it magnifies really what expertise they have grows with by using these by using different AI tools, right? So what we've found is a 15% increase in issue resolution when we use AI tools, and our teams have been able to generate code 56% faster, creating playbooks and things of that nature more quickly as a result of using these tools.
Thanks, Garrick. And what of these business outcomes really resonates most with customers right now?
I think from our space and what Fortinet's seeing, I think it's really both, right? Security operation teams can get through more issues, right? We have a lot of lean security teams, and so they can get through more issues. They could also create more playbooks so that they can so that these teams can concentrate on other things.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Garrick, for that section on Fortinet. Here are our 3 key takeaways for everyone on the call and listening later. Here are things you can take back to your teams and do starting today. So first of all, recognize, number 1, it is one conversation. So the AI, network, security conversation is really all now blending into one conversation. So you can't modernize your business and operations without looking at the network and security implications. And so trying to figure out how that all works together well is going to be critical for IT teams in the near future. Number 2, of course, is push in the right direction. So make sure you're pointed in the right direction. You're going the way that you want to go long term. And then, of course, taking little steps to get there. Those shifts that we mentioned, right, from manual to intent-based, from being siloed to being really unified, and then from just all these various alerts to really using AI to extract some intelligence out of it. All of that is going to add value to your IT operations and to your company. The question then becomes, what do you want to do? And then just making some steps to move that direction. And we would always encourage to do that sooner than later. And then, of course, number 3, treating it as a journey. So no one's going to flip a switch and have all this work overnight. As Garrick mentioned, there are so many different existing OEMs and different products and tools in a modern network. So trying to unify them is really the goal. So trying to treat it as, hey, what can you do over time? And really using AI and some of these agentic tools to really streamline everything that you're doing. And so making sure you're being deliberate about your company's goals and how AI and possibly Fortinet can fit into there. So that's the end of our presentation. We do now have time for some questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. And yeah, do we have any questions in the chat? Or does anyone on the call have a question?
Nick has a question in the QA. It says, agentic systems depend on APIs being both correct and well documented. In the real world, vendor APIs often have undocumented behavior, bugs, or documentation that lags with implementation. How does your agent detect and recover from these situations rather than confidently generating incorrect changes? So Nick, if you're talking about Fortinet and sort of our Fortinet manager, our agents don't do anything, don't sort of commit changes without a human, without a human in the loop, sort of saying it's okay. So, right now that's how we, that's how Fortinet's agents on FortiAI on Forti Manager, FortiSIM, FortiSOAR, where we can create playbooks with the FortiAI assistant. All of those are reviewed by the administrator, by the analyst before they're committed.
Thanks, Garrick. Great question. Great answer. Does anyone else have a question? You can throw it in the chat or just raise it here. We did have one question come in earlier. This one is also for Garrick. It would be, let's say a company has a lot of disparate solutions, right? They've maybe tried different security vendors in the past, and they of course have many different OEMs in terms of their security. Currently, their servers, storage, network, all of that. How could Fortinet come in, and what would your recommendation be as kind of a first step with Fortinet to really bridge all those gaps and solve some of these challenges we discussed?
So if we're from a Fortinet point of view, right? I think FortiSIM, but sort of if we're going to get very general, a SIM I think is a great way to a great solution to bring all of your logs from across your full network security infrastructure together, and then take advantage of the machine learning AI, in FortiSIM, right, where we can baseline the network and see, and then automatically alert on anomalies, right? Maybe a server is using more CPU than it normally does, right? And then we also, and we can learn on that. But we can also then use FortiSIM to do correlation across, all devices. Again, the alert overload and the siloed tools. Instead of having 10 red cones sitting there that you pick up when there's a problem, right? FortiSIM can take all of those alerts and turn it into a single alert phone, right? And then if it's something you're looking for, right, you can talk to your Curvature rep and they can help you out with that.
Thanks, Garrick. Amy, thanks for your question here. Amy says, you mentioned the expertise gap, Garrick, in your slides. How is the best way for network engineers to come up to speed on all this new technology? This would be for, Garrick or Emilio. You can both chime in.
So I guess like if we're looking at something like Fortinet, using their domain-specific AI, if you're implementing like a brand new feature, a new security policy that you haven't used before, I think there's a combination of that AI assistant and the agents where you can ask the assistant to, describe your intent to the assistant, and then the proper agent. So you have a security agent that would maybe implement that new security policy or new security feature, or you have like a WAN or SD-WAN agent that would deploy SD-WAN if it's your first time deploying like a new feature like that. So I think it's just when you have a domain-specific AI, the combination of the assistant and multiple agents that are dedicated to specific, features or protocols. That's how you would, engineers can come up to speed with those new features.
Yeah, thanks, Emilio. And great question, Amy. I would add on, of course, the security landscape and the IT space is very diverse. How can any one person really understand every area of it and really grow? But to the point of my colleagues here on the call, really using these AI tools to help fill in those gaps, even in your own professional development and career, saying, hey, I want to learn more about security or how to solve some particular challenge, using AI to bring up your skills, and then, of course, to implement some of these solutions in production. We're really getting to that point where you no longer need to do all this stuff manually. You can really trust the tools and the technology, in most cases, to really fill in some of these gaps for you. But of course, yeah, you really need to work with experts. So that's where we get to highlight ourselves. Curvature, of course, has been in the IT space for more than 25 years. In these areas, we're definitely experts. Someone like Emilio could help in terms of even just some next steps of pointing you in the direction of some content or tools to grow. And then, of course, Fortinet, really one of the market leaders in security globally. Someone like Garrick has the technical depth to really fill in some of maybe the bigger gaps with an individual or your IT team. Yeah, any other questions? We'll leave it open for just a sec.
There's a couple in the Q&A.
Okay.
Fernando asks, do you think AI attacks can, or will be more sophisticated than the level of protection we have available at the moment?
Great question. Well, I would just share real quickly, as I understand it, right? I'm not a true security expert, but just in my research and I like listening to podcasts and things, my experience is that the threat, the amount of time you have from when a threat is released to when you can then patch or solve for that threat, that window is narrowing almost to nothing, right? So in the past, it would be, hey, some threat would come out. You can then have some time to maybe formulate a strategy, and maybe your IT system was able to kind of hold things off until you could maybe upgrade firmware or something like that. Now we're at the place where the attacks are so quick and so sophisticated, and being able to be deployed so quickly that really the concern is always that how can you make sure your network and your security system is always going to be one step ahead. Garrick, did you have any comments on that one?
Yeah, so I don't think that it'll ever outpace the level of protection, right? They're not, AI is not coming up with new attacks, right? Yeah, it's not really coming with new attacks, right? What it's allowing for is finding vulnerabilities faster, so that people can exploit those vulnerabilities more quickly, right? In a properly designed network, generally speaking, in a properly designed network, a lot of the vulnerabilities that are discovered aren't going to be exploitable. One of the things that Fortinet comes up against a lot are, a lot of vulnerabilities happen because people are exposing their management interface to the internet, right? And then because of that, they, when things get exploited, right? But if you move that management interface, behind a VPN, right, where you can't, where it can't be, where it's not exposed to the internet, then a lot of these vulnerabilities aren't as big of an issue.
Thanks, Garrick. Last chance. Any other questions? That was a great question as well.
And Nick, I'll get with you after this webinar, and we can sort of get deeper into what you're asking about.
Thanks. We'll give one last moment, but while we're giving time for any other questions, as Garrick mentioned, Emilio, we're here to help. Curvature and Fortinet are here to help you with your small or large challenges in this area. Of course, we're all learning. We're all continuing to watch this evolution of AI in your enterprise network and in your security operations. So really, if anything from this discussion resonated with you, something your company is dealing with, we would welcome the chance to talk further. If you have any questions, and specifically around how Fortinet can solve some of these challenges, we are happy to discuss. You can just reach out to your Curvature rep or to Curvature through our website. And this recording of this event will also be made available if you want to revisit any of this or share this with anyone in your team. And yeah, I'll just say thanks so much for joining. And thank you, Emilio and Garrick, for all your input. And yeah, hope you all have a nice day and hope to see you next time.